Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen Video bei Northern Finance. Ich bin hier heute bei Bondora zu Gast und habe Matt hier dabei, Head of Investments. Und jetzt switchen wir mal auf Englisch. So Matt, please introduce yourself to the community and what you do here at Bondora.
Hi, my name is Matt Clanahan. I am the Head of Investments here at Bondora. And what that means is that I get to work with a lot of different teams who specifically work on the investor product, investor relations, communications and PR. So it's never a boring day.
All right, and how did you get started here at Bondora?
Well, actually, I've been here for around 2 years now.
Okay.
And previously I worked for a couple of banks in the UK.
Yeah.
And Bondora was my first introduction into peer-to-peer.
Yeah, nice.
And yeah, loved it ever since I've been here.
Cool. And for Bondora, what was your reason you came to this company and maybe not another one of the peer-to-peer lending companies? I mean, in the UK there are also quite many.
Well, actually, I'd looked into Bondora. I'd been thinking about moving to Estonia for a while, and
really?
I found this opportunity at Bondora.
Nice.
And I read about the company, loved what they did,
yeah,
what we still do today, and thought I have to be a part of this.
Nice. And I also have not only my questions with me today, but also some from the investors. And one of those is, will the pace of the auto invest be increased? At the moment, some investors have trouble investing their funds quickly or as quick as they'd like to.
I guess this mainly affects people who are investing via Portfolio Pro because with Portfolio Manager and Go Grow, it's obviously different. But with Portfolio Pro, what we see sometimes is that the criteria that is set by the investor is too strict.
Okay.
Too strict.
Okay.
And based on our loan portfolio, there may not be enough originations to meet that specific criteria. You know, if and it can be something as simple, you know, with the interest rate filters that might be applied.
Yeah.
You know, if you're looking for an AA rated loan with an interest rate, you know, super high interest rate, you know, that's usually a difficulty we find. So we suggest that people could try and just loosen the criteria a little bit, or just explore a different criteria to see if the funding works then. And we also publish each month a full post on originations data, so they can see
on your blog,
a snapshot. Yeah, exactly. So they can see if that may be the reason why.
Nice. Okay, and do you actually also invest in peer-to-peer lending in general and in Bondora as well? And what have been your experiences with that?
I invest in peer-to-peer, but only with
Bondora. Only with Bondora.
Yeah,
okay.
as you could probably imagine. So. Yeah, so I started when I joined the company, and it was originally with Portfolio Manager, but today I'm fully invested into Go Grow. It's just exactly what suits my needs and my goals.
Yeah.
So that's why I use it, and I advocate it to people around me as well. So I'm an avid Bondora investor, you could say.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And what do you see as the USP of the platform for the investors?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think for Bondora, it's definitely that we're a leader in choice. Because, like I said, I use Go Grow because it suits my investment goals and what I want.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other end of the scale, we may have an API investor who wants to build their own program, select all their own filters, and have complete control.
Yeah.
You know, so totally opposite to what I'm doing passively.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can still do that with Bondora. And then there's the middle ground of that, Portfolio Manager and Portfolio Pro as well. So I'd say being leaders in choice and giving anyone, whether you're an experienced or a totally new investor in peer-to-peer or anything actually, that you can invest with Bondora without having to go to all different places to achieve what you want.
Yeah, and you already mentioned the Bondora blog. and all of the updates to the Go Grow feature that I think is now almost a year old, right?
It's over 1 year old.
Over 1 year.
Over 1 year old, yeah.
So the Go Grow reports are always published on the blog. But one question from the investors was when will Go Grow receive more detailed reporting? And another one that was very frequently asked, how large is the security margin, if we can call it that?
So the first question, what kind of reporting would be of interest specifically?
I think if you look at the competitors at Mintos, you can see actually which loans you are invested in, and we know with Bondora Go Grow we are invested in thousands of loans probably, and I guess people want to see maybe a geographical distribution or something like that, so a little bit more insights. I think that's where the question heads.
Sure, and I mean, with Go Grow, it's the whole Go Grow portfolio, right?
Yeah.
So it's essentially not individual for different investors, which is a bit different there compared to portfolio manager as well. But we release every few months we release a portfolio distribution of Go Grow, which breaks it down by breaks it down by country, risk rating, you know, so you can see the geography and all of this with it as well. But we publish this usually quarterly or a little bit more. We don't have any plans to kind of implement that within the user interface, because we want to keep it simple and as simple as possible.
All right.
But the stats are out there, and we do publish them for people to see.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Okay, so then the viewers will see it on the blog.
Yes.
And you can't implement it that easily in the interface because it's just such a huge portfolio, and the updates are for everyone.
It's roughly 60 to 70,000 loan pieces within the portfolio, which is huge.
Yeah, and so everyone has a share of that.
Yeah, so you have a claim within that based on the amount invested into it.
All right, nice. And the second question was on how large the security margin is, because the 6.75% that are the goal, they were always reached, I think, in the past. And the loans in the portfolio, they are a little bit higher than 6.75%. So could you elaborate a little bit more on this security margin?
Yes, so we call it the kind of reserve fund, you could say. So any returns that are generated over the 6.75% and then put into this reserve fund, and Bondora has no claim on them whatsoever. Now at the moment we haven't shared that amount and what it is. It's possibly something that we can put into our next portfolio update that we can share there, but it's not something that we've shared so far. But and that's there if for any reason in the future we cannot meet the return of 6.75%, or we have more withdrawals or something like that. And that's the reason for that reserve fund in the first place. Okay.
And another question by the investors community. Apart from Go Grow, but in your general loan process, how do you evaluate the risk of your borrowers, and how do you give them in the end a rating and an interest rate they have to pay?
Probably one of the most critical parts of the business.
Yeah, sure.
Because if you don't get that right, then nothing else works. Because to be able to deliver on the investments or the return that we promise, we have to have the right risk assessment in place. These loans. So we have a proprietary credit model which assesses thousands of different data points on borrowers, and that ranges from the traditional points like income, employment, education, population registries, credit bureau, but then also non-traditional data as well, which we can't share fully what that is because it's proprietary, but things like social media, how people interact with our site, things like that. So, and all of that put together then gives us a probability of default, so when the person will default, or how likely they are to default on their payment, and based on that they are then assigned a credit rating and a corresponding interest rate with that as well.
So in your recent blog posts, I saw quite a little bit about the spikes in collection and recovery, especially in Finland. How's that exactly explained?
So we've been working on creating an automated process for submitting cases to court. And what's come with that in the past couple of recent months, when we've had the record-breaking months, as you said, the spikes, This has been...
It was above 100%, I think.
Yeah, so include the interest that was taken back as well. So this is due to a lot of pending cases that have been built up more over time.
Okay.
And then the recoveries going through, the court decisions being reached, and us getting the money back on them. But we hope to, once this process is more streamlined as it is in Estonia and Finland now as well, that will continue to break records, and that's our goal.
So that would be a part of my follow-up question. Can investors expect these recovery rates also in the future?
That is our goal.
That's your goal.
That's our goal.
Cool. Looking pretty good, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And apart from the great improvements in collection, I would say, how did the company develop in the recent months, and what are your goals for the rest of 2019?
So, really, Go and Grow has been a huge hit.
Yeah,
it's been huge popularity with people who are existing investors, peer-to-peer, and new investors. It's kind of been the step for people to get into this world.
Yeah.
Right. And we've seen, around 14 months ago, I think our investor base was less than 40,000, or around 30,000 even. Yeah. And the amount of total investments is around 100 million, or a little bit more than that as well. So we're looking at double that now. So
great,
huge success. Yeah. And I think that's thanks to opening up the world of investing for everyone.
Yeah. And
so continuing throughout this year, we really plan to just keep the platform simple, easy for everyone to use, and deliver on our promises as well. That's the most important thing.
All right.
So we're specialists in what we do. We don't have loads of different kind of products available. We have you invest in unsecured loans, and that's what we continue to do.
Okay, and if you have this great growth in users and also in funds invested through the platform, how do you secure that the new applicants they are in the process of Bondora evaluating them, but how do you make sure that it stays as fast as it is today in order to receive more loan requests also in the future?
Yeah, and it's about finding that balance, right? Because it's okay to say you can grow 1,000% per month, but if you're not growing responsibly and assessing the risk, then it makes no difference. Yeah. So we never have, and we never will loosen our risk criteria when assessing people. So
I think that's pretty important.
It is, because it wouldn't work otherwise. Yeah. So we will continue to grow slowly in the grand scheme of things, but grow at a steady rate as well.
Nice, and that also goes a little bit to the next question. Staying competitive. How do you think the market and Bondora will continue to grow in the future? In what direction will the growth go in the peer-to-peer lending market?
Do you mean the kind of products that we offer? Or?
Yeah, if you offer additional products, or what concepts or revenue streams maybe you're looking at.
I mean, we have some ideas in the background, which we're working on, but for now, as I said, we're just keeping the products that we have. But we're looking to improve the user experience and usability of that as well. So later this year we have an app planned for users to be able to access the money anywhere and anytime as well. Great. Improving our technology for withdrawals, for instant payments technology, which you may have heard of as well. We've got some really cool animated ads that are being released. You may have seen one of them already, but there's a few more to come, which are maybe even better. So there's a lot of things on our existing products that we're improving before moving on to another something else. All right.
Because other companies like Mintos, for example, I think they are going heavily in the services industry, also now with the IBAN account for every investor, and being able to deposit this money you have in your credit account very easily, or in your debit account, very easily into the platform. Are you also going kind of in this way with a bank license? Are you thinking about that?
We don't have any immediate plans for that. That's something potentially we've looked at before, and something potentially in the future as well. But the reason for it is that we're not looking to expand into any new loan markets at this point, immediately anyway. And the reason for that is because there's a huge opportunity within the markets we're already at in the moment. So in Estonia, Finland, and especially Spain, like I said to you before, within our criteria, if we can grow within that, then there's a huge possibility to become specialists and compete with the banks, the biggest banks in these countries as well. Because if you look at any
that could really make a difference.
Exactly, it really could. Because if you look at any peer-to-peer platform at the moment, then global market share is tiny compared to the biggest banks.
It sure is.
And that is they are our competitors.
Okay, so aiming for the really big goals here.
Well, yeah, because you have so many customers who do not have access to finance.
Yeah, that's true.
And need this access to finance, and not just going to their bank, taking a load of paperwork and going through the applications. They want it online instantly. Okay. With a good experience, and that's what we're going to deliver.
All right. Could you take me through such an experience for a loan application, maybe from Finland, because it's going so well, and how would that look? I also checked your website, but at some point you have to identify, and I don't want to type in anything that's not true. But could you take us through this process? How it looks for the loan application?
It's probably even better for me to take you through the opposite and what the usual of that is first. So, like I just started to say before, let's say you think you want to get a loan, right? You look online, or maybe you see your local bank, you give them a call, and you say, hey, I'm looking to get a loan. They say, okay, come in, next week we've got an appointment available. Okay, come and sit down with us, right? You need to bring your passport, you need to bring your driving license, you need to bring your bank statements for the past few months, you need to bring your dog, you need to bring everything, right? They just ask you for everything, and you go in there on a bus with a huge folder of paperwork, and you get there, and you're there for an hour, and they ask you a million questions, and they go off and photocopy stuff, and they come back, and then they say, we'll let you know in 6 weeks, you'll get a notice from my head office, right? And then 6 weeks later, you get the letter, and it says, sorry, you've been declined, right? The alternative is that you come onto our website, you put in your ID card, which has the chip. We get all the information from that, and you get a decision in 60 seconds.
All right. That sounds pretty good.
It is, yeah.
Okay, and now again to the investor side. So what would be your advice for someone just starting out in P2P? Maybe he found out about it on a blog last week, and he would ask you, well, Matt, what should I start with, and what would you do in my position? How would you approach that?
I always say that the most important thing is, of course, to do your due diligence, and whether that's through a trusted source, like an online blogger, or a friend maybe as well. But always do your own due diligence. But the second is to just get started, because you can so easily delay things. For years at a time, and you don't have to invest your life savings, right? You can start like under a minimum of €1. You can get a feel for it and see if this is something for you. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But then at least you will have tested, and then and then it's much easier to progress from there. Like even if you're doing savings each month, if you save 10-20% of your income, it's much easier to build that up in the future to larger amounts as well. So it's building the habit, it's getting started, and trying something. Right. So that would be the main advice that I would give.
That's pretty good advice.
Yeah, I hope so.
And so this interview is in English, but published on a mainly German channel. And if some of the German or English-speaking investors have any questions that, if they have any questions that were not answered in this interview, who should they reach out to at Bondora?
Well, you can always write to investor@bondora.com to our team, but feel free to add me on LinkedIn as well. I'm always available for questions on there, so add me on LinkedIn and we can chat.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, and thank you for your time. Welcome to this office tour at Bondora, and today I have Tammy with me to show the premises a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's go.
Okay. So as you've said, this is the main reception area. When you're coming into the office, we have the Bondora logo here, so they're quite big there. You might also want to see what we have here. We have working at Bondora, what working here is like. So we've gathered this from all employees around the office, and you can see different descriptions here on what working at Bondora feels like for many people here. So interestingly, we have a Corona game here. It's an Estonian game, more like a pool, I would say, but it's a local game.